So try this on for size. Noun A, nara, predicate X, where predicate X applies only to A and is otherwise not valid. This is the formula given by the Genki Volume 2 textbook to explain the grammar rule nara, but if you are like me and you learned English like, by being a native speaker and not from textbooks, this might not really make much sense to you. You might not know what predicates mean or anything like that. I mean, I understand what it means, of course, but I did not learn Japanese from textbooks. I did not learn the nara concept from a textbook. I learned it very slowly through exposure, the same way I learned English. I also translate Japanese entertainment professionally, so I approach this a little more as a translator and as somebody who just learned it naturally versus textbook. So I'm going to explain nara to you in a more natural way that's a little more intuitive, and then I'm going to go back to this formula at the end and tie everything together. So as a translator, a very simple substitution for nara could be the word if or the phrase as long as. Another key component of nara is it will often be in a statement that is a response to a yes or no question. So with these rules in mind, if, as long as, and an answer to a yes/no question, let's look at a few sentence couplets to demonstrate nara in action. So if you were to ask me, ねえ、サラさん、日暮らしの泣く頃にっていうアニメ見てますか? I might answer, 見てます. Or if I were being honest, I would say, いえ、見てません. But let's say I wanted to expand on my answer a little bit, maybe be a little more diplomatic with my answer. Maybe I don't want to kill the conversation dead by being like, no, I have not seen it, the end of the conversation. Instead of replying with just, no, I haven't seen it, I could say, ワンダーエッグなら見てますが、日暮らしは見てません. So in simple English, a translation of that would be, I watch Wonder Egg, but not Higurashi. But a more in-depth version of that sentence, keeping all the little nuances intact, is really something more along the lines of, okay, you're talking about current anime this season. You want to know about current anime this season that I'm watching, and you have offered Higurashi as one of those current anime and asked me if I'm watching it. So I know you're wondering if I'm watching any current anime this season, in particular Higurashi. And I'm offering you, well, I'm not seeing that particular anime, Higurashi, that you suggested from this season, but I am, emphasis on the am, but I am watching Wonder Egg Priority. So nara in this case, as you can see, it's a way of answering no to somebody's question, but providing them with an alternative. It's like, well, no to the specific thing that you asked me, but yes to a different version of your question. And a way I could translate this into English is, no, I don't watch Higurashi. I do watch Wonder Egg, though. So the do that is emphasized, again, in spoken English, you would say, I do watch Wonder Egg, though. You wouldn't be like, I do watch Wonder Egg. You'd say, I do watch Wonder Egg, though. That emphasized do and the though is what nara really means in this case. So with this principle in mind, let's look at some more sentence couplets. Kimura senpai ni wa kanojo imasu ka? So, does Kimura senpai, as for Kimura, does he have a girlfriend? We actually technically don't know what gender Kimura is. I'm giving you guys some context. Kimura is a dude. Does he have a girlfriend? And let's say I know on good authority, well, Kimura is dating Bob, a guy. So I could say, 彼氏ならいるよ. So, no, in parentheses, he doesn't have a girlfriend. The answer to your question is no. However, I'm providing you with an alternative answer to your question that's kind of giving you a yes. Really, the question asker in the first scenario was asking if Kimura was seeing anyone. They specifically asked, does Kimura have a girlfriend? And I'm saying, well, Kimura doesn't have a girlfriend, he has a boyfriend, but he is dating somebody. So it's like, you're only half wrong, question asker. I'm being diplomatic and I'm saying, well, no, he doesn't have a girlfriend, but he does. Again, it's that emphasized do or does, but he does have a boyfriend, though. Manga yomeru no? So, no, there's no particles. Woohoo! I love Japanese with no particles. So much more natural. Anyway, you may remember from a couple lessons ago, yomeru is the potential version of the verb yomu. So it changes read into can read. So manga, comics, manga, yomeru, no. This is like the no question mark or no particle at the end of the sentence. So, can you read manga? And then the way I would have answered this a long time ago is furigana付きなら読める. So furigana is the little, I can't actually make these on my video editing program, which is why I've been having like romaji under the sentences instead of actually using furigana. That plus furigana are tiny and they're kind of hard to read on the screen sometimes. But anyway, furigana are those little tiny hiragana pronunciation guides that are above kanji. That's furigana. And some comics have furigana next to the kanji, and some of them don't. It's a general rule, shoujo manga tends to have furigana, and shonen manga for boys tends to not have it. Just interesting. They're like implying girls can't read, so we're going to put furigana, but boys can read. Yeah, it's not necessarily true. Like boys manga for younger boys has furigana as well. But anyway, basically someone's asking me, can you read manga? And I say, well, I can read manga if it has furigana. So again, if, nara, or you could also think of it as yes, as long as it has furigana. So remember how I said initially nara can mean if or as long as in a translation. 俺と遊園地に行く? Want to go to the amusement park with me? A masculine person because I'm using ore as my pronoun. And then I answer, 友達としてなら行く. Sure, as long as we go as friends. So として is as basically. So 友達として is as friends or as a friend. So 友達としてなら, like I will go with you as long as we go as friends. Otherwise, the answer is no. So I was using a lot of examples using nara in a sentence that's the answer to a yes-no question because that is often where you're going to find nara. But you don't need to answer a question with nara. You can have a sentence with nara in it that is not an answer to a question. And here's an example. You're going to see this a lot in anime, particularly shoujo anime. I think it's a very quintessentially shoujo manga anime kind of sentiment. Kimi nara dekiru. Or you could insert any pronoun in here, like あの人ならできる, 私ならできる, 彼ならできる. I'm just doing kimi, you. 君ならできる. So, 君なら, if you, as long as it is you, can do, できる. So, you can do it is like a simplified translation of this, but the real nuance there is more like if anyone can do it, it is you. Maybe other people can't do this, but 君なら dekiru, like, but you couldn't do it. And just a heads up, it's not exactly covered in Genki II, but just to let you know, you can use nara with other words, like you can use it with verbs, for example. And here's an example from song lyrics from a Fushigi Yugi song. In fact, the title of the song is Kimi ga微笑むなら. So it has nara in the title. As long as you smile, Kimi ga 微笑む, 微笑むis to smile. So the lyric here is Kimi ga 微笑むなら, どんな痛みも受け止めよう. So どんな, any kind of, 痛み, pain, mo also, 受け止める is to like to withstand, to take, to accept, to carry, to catch. And then the yo at the end changes it into like rather than I'm going to do this verb, I shall do this verb, let us do this verb, yes indeed. So as long as you smile, I can withstand or I shall withstand any kind of pain. So as you can see in this sense, I used nara with an as long as statement for nara. As long as you smile, as long as you are smiling. But because nara is really nuanced and it kind of has that idea of this is only going to happen if this condition is met, it's a little more nuanced than simply if or as long as. Or that other example I gave earlier with the emphasized do, but I do watch Wonder Egg, though. Those are a few different ways of looking at it, but now that we kind of have this intuitive understanding of what nara actually is, the essence of it, let's go back now to that initial formula that we looked at the top of this episode from the Genki II textbook. So noun A, nara, predicate X, where predicate X applies only to A and is otherwise not valid. It still might sound like a lot of gobbledygook to you. So let's look at one of the dialogue exchanges from earlier with the formula in mind. So, 俺と遊園地に行く Want to go to the amusement park with me? 友達としてなら行く Sure, as long as we go as friends. But if it's not as friends, I'm not going to go with you. That's kind of the subtext there. So in this case, predicate X, this like predicate, what's a predicate? Predicate X is the proposition 遊園地に行く Go to the amusement park. Noun A, in this case, is 友達として. It's like that whole thought in brackets. It's not just a noun by itself. It doesn't have to be just a noun by itself. That's why I chose this example to show that it doesn't have to be just a noun. It's just the thing that comes right before nara, which in this case is 友達として, as a friend. So we can put these thoughts in brackets. So 友達として is in brackets, then you got nara, and then you got 行く, which is also in brackets. Noun A is 友達として, and predicate X is 行く. 遊園地に行く, to the amusement park, go. So if we're translating this sentence kind of via the way the formula is structured, the translation of this would be going to the amusement park applies only to, that's nara, as friends, and is otherwise not valid. So in other words, I will only go to the amusement park with you as long as we go as friends. And then the subtext there is, otherwise, I will not go to the amusement park with you. So as you can see, there's many different ways of thinking about nara, many different layers to it. And at the beginning, it might be kind of hard to wrap your mind around it because there is no one clear, like, word for word equivalent of nara. But think about all of these rules: if, as long as, do, though, and this predicate X formula as well, and eventually it should all fall into place. Friendly reminder that if you want to review any of the sentences that I covered in this video, I have timestamps in the video description and in a pinned comment in the comment section below. You can just click on any one of those timestamps and skip right to the sentence that you wanted to look at again. Also, here's another friendly reminder: don't learn all your Japanese from me. I'm an entertainment translator and I offer one perspective on the language, but you should be getting many different perspectives if you want a nice, well-rounded learning experience. So at the end of my episodes of this series, I like to highlight some other creators out there, some other ways that you can learn Japanese on the net. And this week, I would like to feature Japanese Talk Online. Japanese Talk Online is a website with a lot of resources of Japanese learners of all levels. They include reading lists, blogs on Japanese culture, entertainment, translation, and travel, as well as resources for learning Japanese. And if you're a more visual learner and want a one-stop site for all things Japanese, this is a great site. So check out Japanese Talk Online. Thanks for watching, and thank you to all the patrons who support this series and the other series on my channel. If you want to support this series on Patreon, it's just $2 a month, and you get some study guides to go with it. Next week, we are going to be covering how to say a frequency of something, like I brush my teeth 3 times a day. 頑張ってね!